Jean Piaget did not step into the world of psychology with the intention of becoming famous or revolutionary. His journey began quietly, almost invisibly, through patience, curiosity, and deep observation. While many scholars of his time were busy measuring intelligence with numbers and tests, Piaget was watching children play, speak, argue, fail, and try again. He believed that to understand the human mind, one must observe it while it is forming, not after it is complete. This simple idea would later shake the foundations of education, psychology, and child development. At a time when children were treated as incomplete adults, Piaget dared to say something radical. Children are not less intelligent than adults. They are intelligent in a different way. Their minds follow a unique logic that changes with growth. This belief did not come from imagination, but from years of observing real children in real situations. Piaget noticed patterns in how children reasoned, how they made errors, and how their explanations of the world changed with age. These errors fascinated him because they were not random. They were consistent, meaningful, and deeply logical within the child's mental world. Piaget realized that when a child gives a wrong answer, it is often because the child's brain is not yet capable of understanding the problem the way an adult does. The mistake is not a failure. It is evidence of a developing structure of thought. This idea challenged the harsh educational systems of his time, where children were punished for not understanding concepts their minds were not ready to grasp. Piaget believed that learning cannot be forced. It unfolds naturally when the mind reaches the right stage. Through countless experiments, Piaget discovered that children build knowledge by interacting with their environment. They touch objects, move them, break them, rebuild them, and through this interaction, their minds organize reality. A child does not learn that fire is hot by reading a sentence. They learn it by experience. Piaget called this process the construction of knowledge. To him, the mind was not a container to be filled, but a structure that grows layer by layer. One of his most famous observations involved simple objects like water, clay, and sticks. When children were shown the same amount of water in two identical glasses, they easily understood that both were equal. But when one glass was poured into a taller container, younger children suddenly believed the taller one held more water. Piaget did not laugh at this response. He understood that the child was focusing on height because their mind had not yet developed the ability to understand conservation. This showed that logic does not appear instantly, it evolves. Piaget identified that the human mind passes through stages, each with its own way of understanding reality. In early life, children experience the world through movement and senses. They learn by touching, tasting, and exploring. Objects exist only when they are seen or felt. Later, imagination blooms. Children begin to speak, pretend, and create stories, but their thinking is still self-centered. They believe the world revolves around them because they cannot yet see from another's perspective. This is not arrogance. It is developmental limitation. As children grow, logic slowly emerges. They begin to understand rules, fairness, numbers, and cause and effect. They can solve problems, but only when those problems are concrete and visible. Abstract thinking remains difficult. Only in later adolescence does the mind gain the ability to think beyond the visible, to imagine possibilities, question assumptions, and reflect on abstract ideas like justice, freedom, and morality. Piaget's brilliance was not in naming these stages, but in showing that each stage has its own truth. Trying to teach abstract ideas to a mind that is not ready only creates confusion, fear, and dislike for learning. He argued that education must respect the natural rhythm of mental growth. Learning should feel like discovery, not pressure. His work transformed classrooms around the world. Teachers began to understand that intelligence is not measured by speed, but by readiness. Children were encouraged to ask questions, experiment, and make mistakes. Learning became a process, not a performance. Piaget showed that curiosity is the engine of intelligence, and fear kills it. Beyond education, Piaget's ideas reached deep into psychology and philosophy. He revealed that even adults continue to construct their understanding of reality. Growing older does not guarantee deeper thinking. Many adults remain stuck in rigid patterns, unable to question beliefs or think abstractly. True cognitive growth requires freedom, reflection, and openness. Piaget believed that every human being is a thinker from birth. Even the smallest child is a scientist, testing reality through trial and error. When children ask strange questions or imagine impossible things, they are not wasting time. They are preparing the mind for complex reasoning. Suppressing this natural exploration weakens the intellect. What makes Piaget's work timeless is its humanity. He did not see children as problems to be fixed, but as minds to be understood. He taught the world patience. He reminded us that growth cannot be rushed and understanding cannot be forced. In a world obsessed with results, Piaget stood for process. Jean Piaget did not just explain how children think. He taught humanity how thinking itself is born, how knowledge is built, and why respecting the mind's natural journey is the foundation of true education. His legacy is not found in theories alone, but in every classroom that values curiosity over fear and understanding over punishment. Piaget's deep respect for the child's mind also changed how parents began to see their own children. Before his work, many parents believed discipline meant silence and obedience. A quiet child was considered a good child. Piaget challenged this idea without attacking it. He showed that when children question, argue, and experiment, they are not being disobedient. They are building intelligence. A child who constantly asks why is not trying to annoy adults. That child is trying to understand how the world works. Piaget believed that every question a child asks is a sign of growth. Even when the questions sound strange or illogical, they reflect the child's current mental structure. When a child believes the moon follows them or that clouds move because they walk, Piaget saw beauty in that thinking. He believed it was a creative step toward logic, not a flaw that needed correction. Correcting too early, he warned, can silence curiosity forever. Another powerful idea Piaget introduced was the balance between adaptation and change. He explained that the human mind grows by adjusting old ideas when new experiences challenge them. When reality does not fit our beliefs, the mind feels uncomfortable. Children, Piaget observed, either try to force reality to match their thinking or slowly change their thinking to match reality. This process is not limited to childhood. Adults do the same thing, often without realizing it. This insight made Piaget's work deeply relevant beyond schools. It explained why people resist new ideas, why belief systems become rigid, and why change feels threatening. Piaget quietly revealed that mental growth requires discomfort. Learning means admitting, even briefly, that what we believed before may not be fully correct. Piaget was not interested in creating perfect students. He wanted to create thinking humans. He criticized education systems that rewarded memorization, but punished questioning. In his view, a child who memorizes answers without understanding has not learned anything meaningful. Real learning happens when the child discovers ideas through action, reflection, and personal experience. He often emphasized that intelligence is not a fixed number. It is not something you either have or do not have. Intelligence is a process. It develops when the environment allows exploration and safety. Fear, Piaget argued, blocks learning. When children are afraid of making mistakes, their minds close. When they feel safe to fail, their minds open. Piaget's ideas also reshaped how psychologists understood mistakes. Errors were no longer signs of weakness. They became windows into the mind. A child's mistake could reveal exactly how they were thinking at that moment. This changed assessment methods and helped educators focus on reasoning rather than results. One of Piaget's most human qualities was his patience. He never rushed children to fit adult expectations. He trusted the natural order of growth. This patience is perhaps his greatest lesson for modern society. In a fast world where success is measured early and loudly, Piaget reminds us that depth takes time. He showed that wisdom does not come from speed. It comes from stages fully lived and understood. Skipping stages creates fragile understanding. Strong thinking is built slowly, like a foundation. Jean Piaget did not promise quick solutions. He offered something more powerful: understanding. He helped humanity see that behind every child's behavior is a mind trying to organize reality. When we understand this, punishment turns into guidance, and control turns into support. His work quietly tells parents, teachers, and societies, if you want intelligent adults, you must respect developing minds. If you want creativity, you must allow confusion. If you want wisdom, you must allow time.